And we are live. How's it going, everyone? Today we have a very special guest from a project that is bridging fitness and environmental consciousness on Solana. I'm referring to StepN, which is specifically building a Web3 move and earn running app. So there's a lot going down here, and luckily we have Yawn Rong, co-founder of StepN, joining us to really break down what they're building and explain the potential of FitnessFi. So with that being said, how's it going, Jan?
Hi, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing to have you on. And just to start with a little bit of context, I want to say that you notably founded Crypto SA, a crypto management and consulting firm, and you're currently active on the South Australian Blockchain Association. So, when did you really start getting into crypto?
I started getting crypto about 2017, and was actually by accident. Which my friend asking me, where can I sell bitcoins because it got some bitcoins. Then we're comparing the price between different market, and then we find arbitrage opportunities. Then we get into cryptos.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's actually a really cool story. It sounds like that was just a very logical reason for a lot of people to get in.
Mm-hmm.
So, fast forward a bit, just to start, I know I gave a brief introduction of StepN, but do you want to outline what you guys are building there and the ultimate goal behind StepN?
Yeah, so we start off as a GameFi project, but later on we pivot away from GameFi and wanting to create a more of a move to earn Web3 running app. So that's now our position with social and game element. So down the track, we wanted to create a platform that onboarding non-crypto people to Web3 by using these move to earn mechanics, and also connecting the dots for people to interact on Web3. So eventually, we want to become a platform instead of just an app.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you touched on this idea of bridging the community, not just crypto people. This is a question I had for a little bit later on, but it just seems very fitting. How do you guys look to bridge this gap, onboarding these users to crypto with that barrier we have? What are some things that StepN has thought of to bring on the general public, people that are just into fitness, but nothing to do with finance, and even further, nothing to do with crypto?
I think the main issue for entry barrier is that people have to have a decentralized wallet, and also for them to invest in anything, they still have to have a fiat on-ramp. And these are the two blocks preventing people to get into the crypto. So what we did is we built a rental system in StepN. So basically, people do not need to do any prior investment. Then they can rent a sneaker out of the in-app credit system. So once they rent it, they can split the earning between the sneaker owner and the guy basically doing the exercise. And the only barrier will be to remember the 12 phrase word for them to back up their wallet. But we also look into the option that to create a sort of an encrypted email address to store their key phrases so that they don't have to remember that. So that's something that we're going to do in the future. So just an email, and then they can rent sneakers to start.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I definitely agree on that with those two barriers. So trying to reduce that friction is definitely key. I also saw that you guys are already starting sort of outreach and getting the attention of runners. It looks like you guys had a couple events. I didn't look too deep into it, but am I correct to assume that you guys put on some of like fitness events or marathons? You want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, actually, we host our first event in Lisbon, the Solana conferences, and part of the Randall sort of community, and we did like a spin-off, sponsoring one running event during the night at Lisbon, and then we sponsored several running events in Australia, but basically just to targeting the runners. The more sponsorship gonna come when we are releasing the online marathon, which we can go on and sponsor more marathons around the world. So that'll be something that we're gonna do in the future.
Yeah. That's awesome. And we kind of got off into this tangent of how you guys look to onboard all of these users. Something I found myself asking myself, and it looks like you guys do a decent job of answering this question within your Medium and past documentation you've put out. But I'm curious to hear it from your end, Yawn. What are you guys looking, or no, not that. Why do you guys think this idea of fitness fi combining fitness and finance has so much potential? Because to me,
Uh,
it just thinks, how can you reward people for just moving? But where is the potential to this? It seems like there's a lot.
I think the original inspiration really come from Axie. So the play to earn, and then when we firstly starting to consider doing a project, we consider say what else we can do, right? And we discovered that running or walking, basically everybody do it. And if we can convert into a move to earn, rent to earn, then we can effectively reach pretty much everybody. And putting a financial part is basically just to attract them to try the product. So it is more like to attract them to use the app, and then they like the app, and then they will continue to use the app as part of their, say, exercise routines. So then it's not about the move to earn that keep them in the app. It is the social element. It is the, say, carbon neutrality. It is the quality of the app that actually retain them. So I think the move to earn is more like a mechanic to attract people, and then we retain them through all the in-app functions we're going to offer in the future.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And as I started to read more, I definitely connected the dots. This idea of people are already doing fitness every day. I mean, I see some of my peers, people I grew up with, and regardless, what they're doing in their free time is going to the gym. So, one, incentivizing people to do this, and then two, adding the second layer of social aspects to it, having things like NFTs, digital ownership. I can see how this can create a self-sustainable economy where, yes, people are buying these in-game assets, spending, minting, and that then allows for fees to be generated, which you guys recirculate in the economy. The reason I think I can see these parallels is because I have came from gaming. So knowing that people enjoy buying skins and will buy skins with really no utility except for the fact of being able to own them, I did start to connect these dots. So that's just something I wanted to touch on again. I think from the really basic outside, people look in and it's like, okay, how can they pay me to walk? But when you start to look at, okay, gaming, the fact that people will work out and engage in fitness regardless, it starts to make sense. Which takes me into my next question here. It doesn't quite matter if I think move to earn or not makes sense, but something that does matter is there's a lot of investors and smart people who have taken idea and been keen on StepN. So what I'm getting at here is, how has the Solana Ignition Hackathon, you guys came in, I believe, second place on the GameFi track. How has that propelled you guys forward, as well as your 5 million seed round? What have these things meant for moving StepN forward, aside from just bringing that legitimization that people do think it's a good idea?
Yes, actually, we got the first place at
Mm,
the hackathon. So
awesome.
yes, thank you. Um, winning the hackathon get us a bit of the exposure, and then definitely help us raising the fund. And what we actually did the fundraising, we didn't wanted to just get some money. We actually wanted to have the connection, the network that can help us to scale. So we were really selective on who we taking on board, that making sure that they actually are they do have resources that can help us down the track. For example, um, we have several Web2 investors, mainly because they have pretty good regional offices at all the key cities in the Southeast Asia and also in the state. So because we are a consumer-oriented product, so in the end, we're gonna talk to the consumers, and we're gonna do offline marketings. Um, so we're gonna need the Web2 investors to help that, but as well as we're gonna need the Web3 investors really to grow the crypto native community, because in the end, it will be the crypto native investors holding a lot of sneakers that renting or leasing out to the non-crypto people. So we're going to build gradually scale like an onion shape, right? So from the core crypto user to the crypto familiar, and then to the non-crypto, and then to the non-gamer. So that's another reason that we're trying to pivot away from just a GameFi, because not everybody play games, but everybody move. So we want to have a bigger consensus there that in the end reaching to mass general public. And because routing back to the Axie issue is only targeting the crypto gamers, and at best it's targeting the gamers. But there's so much gamers around the world. But if you talk about everybody, then suddenly you have a lot of people.
Yeah, that's awesome. And even just wrapping back a little, I think something notable you mentioned is that you guys were able to be selective with your investors. Something I've noticed from projects we're doing, about 2 of these interviews a week, is raising money at this current point in time isn't the hardest thing possible. It's more so being able to raise money from the right people that will help you. But a very common theme, it seems, is the community is really what's important. So I think this is a perfect segue into the sneakers NFTs you guys have and the shoebox airdrop NFTs you guys are currently doing. Do you want to outline the model behind this and what the thinking of doing the airdrops was?
Sure. So yeah, we didn't sell any of our NFTs. We basically just give away the 10,000 Genesis sneakers, and we still give away. We give away around 50 to 75 roughly on daily basis. So there's another 50 to 100 days to go to give away sneakers. And the logic really is we find it really doesn't make sense when we see other GameFi projects say they do NFT sales, then they sell a lot of NFTs. But that will create a massive issue when the game online, because you will have a lot of users using the NFT. If the data modeling was done wrong, and it will create issues. So we rather to start somewhere small. So we airdropped, I think, about 50 to 100 the first day, and then we're starting to test them to see if there's anywhere we need to rework. And then we drop another 50 to 100 the next day, so on and so forth. So we are gradually expanding our use bases, so that give us time to see where exactly went wrong. Then we got the time to rectify it before the community grow too big to change. And that's one issue. And the second issue is when I see people or other projects say doing the NFT sales, it's always sell the best NFT. The Genesis is always the best. Either have the most attack power or the most rare items. But what I feel is, if I played a game and then I got the best weapon in the game at the right beginning, that sort of lose all the fans of the game, right? The reward should come after you try grinding for maybe even months, to get that best weapon. So we actually give the lowest quality in the beginning, and then people that work their way out to have the best quality sneakers. And to my estimate, that won't happen maybe a year after we start the app. So because this is a finished app, if we give them the best equipment, they actually gonna lose their motivations. So we want them to keep working on it maybe for years and get much healthier and much fitter. Then they get that reward, and that be more fulfilling at the time.
Yeah, that's awesome. I also think there's the other aspects of this, the economics. And we had a Web3 gaming summit on, we had Fractal, Magic Eden, Portals, Nine Heroes, and Mini Royale. And the topic of NFT mints and the speculation and cash grabs came up. And something we were talking about is just when collections start with this idea of the rarest ones are going first and they make the collection super scarce, you get massive speculation, and then you run into this problem where it now costs users $3,000 to $20,000 to get into the game. So it seems like StepN is taking the reverse approach of, let's gauge the natural demand, airdrop these to people, the market will find its value, and we'll just do this on a consistent basis. So I think that's really unique. We do have a couple of people in chat asking, how they can get a chance at these airdrops. Do you want to outline on that? Is it too late, or is there something users can still do to participate?
We do a lot of giveaways now. So we do 3 Twitter Space. Basically, it's a quiz. So people come on stage and answer quiz, and we drop 3 sneakers every day. And then we have Run with Brown Dog, which is another giveaway. And we have Discord giveaway. Basically, people have to participate like quiz. It's basically to help people to get educated about the project. So they have to read through the white paper, they have to read, light paper, and keep up with the update. So they understand the play and mechanics, and then they get an empty sticker. Then they can start using it in the app. So now we have like we have like a Squid game in our Discord. We have various of contests on Twitter. So yeah, just if people
Just
want
being
to have
active.
giveaways, yeah, join our Discord.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that addresses everything in chat. I think now's a good time to maybe take a step back. I know there's some other move to earn projects building specifically on Solana, but more specifically, have you guys seen projects in the past that have done this? Maybe not specifically even on blockchain, but have you seen projects do this in the past? If so, what have you guys learned from these fitness apps in the past?
Yes. So 2 projects have done extremely well. One is called Tribu, and they got 80 million users in 3 years. And the other one is Sweatcoin. They got 100 million users again in 3 years. If you have to learn anything, I think with the Tribu, it used a multi-layer invitation system, and then they got themselves into the trouble. And the learning for us is we don't provide any incentives for people to refer. If they want to refer to other people, I want them to refer them sincerely, not because we offer any incentives. So we don't offer any incentives. And with the Sweatcoin, I think the user adoption was massive in the beginning, but because it's not on blockchain, it doesn't have any tokenomics, so the earning wasn't that great. So I think the gamification and the tokenomics on the blockchain really help to get the earning up. So just a typical example is if people have a level 0 sneaker in StepN, and they roughly make about $10 easily the first day, and then $15 the second day, up until they use all their energy, and then we're looking at around $15 to $20 ish. And if they want to earn more, they're gonna have more sneakers, level up. I'm roughly making around $200 on daily basis because I have 15 pairs and got one max level. So once you can make that much, it actually will incentivize people to just to go out and walk for about 10 to 20 minutes. So that will shape people's behavior. But with Sweatcoin, I think the earning is around like 50 cents per day, and you can withdraw it. So if you have very low incentives, you probably the behavior won't be changed. So we
Yeah,
use a very strong incentive to change people's behavior.
awesome. And that takes me into my next question. How feasible is it for these incentives to stay as strong as they are currently? I imagine you guys have some sort of reward vesting schedule where they will start to taper off. How do you guys look to make this self-sufficient? I know we touched on this a little bit, but maybe a little more concrete of how once rewards taper off a little bit, how do you make it self-sufficient?
Actually, we provide almost zero incentives. It is all naturally happen in the app. What I mean is we see from the backend, people are burning more token than they earn, and then they have to buy tokens. And always people ask, oh, where's money come from? Are you actually buying back these tokens, which we don't. So it is all about in designs. And I have to bring my business partners, co-founder, which is Jerry. So he made games for about 14 years. A pretty experienced team, building several very successful games on the mobile platform. So we also have advisors from pretty famous game producing companies, so helping us with all the data modelings. So we create lots of use cases for the token. And when we talk about mobile game, it is a percentage game. What I mean is there was always about 3% to 5% people. They don't care, just spend money. And they spend money because the app gives them happiness, emotionally or socially rewarding. So people are minting their GIC token by working. Those tokens, if they want to sell in the in-game swap, they can sell it. And who's going to buy them? That 5% people are going to buy them. From what we learned from the past project, the 5% of the user are going to spend between 30 to 50%. They're going to consume 30 to 50% of the entire network's token. And also because we are expanding rapidly on our use cases, on the user basis. So there will always need for sneakers, and people are minting sneakers to keep them because they boost up their energies. And it's all in the design that you constantly create new use cases that they will they actually burn their game token for the in-game utility, for in-game perks, for in-game level up, anything. So
Yeah.
it is actually the demand for the GIC, which is the game token, is actually much higher than the supply still up now. So
Yeah,
we
that's
wouldn't really
awesome.
worry about that. Yeah.
And I think that gets us a little bit more into the two token model. Do you want to just give a brief outline on the thoughts behind this and what the two different tokens do and their use cases?
So we have the game token and governance token. So the game token, the GST, will be used for sort of everyday use in the app, like repair of your sneaker, level up, minting, pay the leaderboard, because once we have the leaderboard, you're going to pay a small fee to participate. And so when you level up the gems, you're also going to burn a lot of GSC tokens. So they're always constantly burn GSC tokens as you earn them. And the GMT are used for the sneaker customizations, like skin, quote, rename it, and also participate the on-chain governance. So we'll have a treasury. We take tax out of the trade happening in the app, the rental, and also the minting. And the governance token holder can decide, are they going to donate a portion of their treasury to carbon offsettings? If they do that, we will take portion from the ecosystem fund to reward them. If they're going to decide to take the treasury profit as the dividend, we actually burn a bit of their governance token as form of punishment. So either way is a win. So either we donate to carbon offsetting, and then the staker get GMT reward, which if they believe that they're going to appreciate in long term, they're going to choose this path. And if they want to short-term benefit, which is still good because we actually reduce the supply of the GMT token because portion of them are burned. So it's almost considered this like a P3D sort of a style. We have proof of weekend, right? So yeah, so I think we like to add a bit of the gamifications even for the governance.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think, Jan, that gives a great outline of your model within StepN, how you guys are looking to keep these incentives steady throughout the time as the ecosystem progresses, as it seems like it's something important. As you identified with Sweatcoin, that was one of their weaknesses. So I think that's great for users who want to look in more. There's tons of documentation on what they're building, how this is modeled, the two different tokens. So definitely check that out on the StepN Medium and their white paper or docs. And then just to keep moving forward here, I was curious about the carbon neutrality and carbon removal credits. Do you want to touch on what these are? When I hear carbon removal credits, I'm thinking, how is this actually helping the environment? So be great
Yes.
to hear more on this.
We are now working with a company called Nori, and they are a carbon removal provider on the blockchain. So how this is going to work is we're going to tap into their API, and for whatever percentage the governor voting, say, the treasury profit we're going to donate, we will transfer the money to them to buy the carbon removal credit on the blockchain, which is NFT, and then basically we burn that NFT as a form of burning that credit, and everything's done on blockchain, pretty much all transparent. So yeah, so basically that's what we're gonna do, and we're looking at roughly we can do around our estimate is about $100,000 per month to start with.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then I'm just curious on their end, your partner, they will then go ahead and do actions that actually reduce carbon based on the tokenized removal credits on chain.
Yes, they are actually having carbon removal farmers that growing trees or like to offset the carbon basically. So and then they buy this carbon credit, and then they sell it on the blockchain.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes sense. I was just curious because I've heard it for a few different projects, carbon removal credits. Never really dove too far into it, but yeah, that makes sense. Just tokenizing this idea, and then it's
Yep.
sweet that you guys have this bridge. It's fitness, environmental consciousness, and yeah, it's just really unique. So to move forward, I know we were talking a bit about the governance token. I'm curious what your guys' vision of decentralization is at StepN? What is the main goal? I think this is a really fun question for me to always ask because it's not like decentralization, you can just put out an idea and someone's going to go build it for you. You need people actually behind it, building it, bootstrapping it. But how do you see the DAO, the governance token, playing a role in the future of the project? And how do you really get it to this place where the DAO is making the key decisions efficiently?
Okay, so I have to actually, so I do study a bit of the history and study a bit of the politics, and through the history, nothing really grow well without any prior guidance or incubation at the beginning. So we cannot just go out and do the DAO like 100% decentralized. I don't think that's gonna work. And so this is gonna be a transition period. So the StepN, the dev team, are gonna control the treasury in the beginning, and up until we have grown a sizable community, then we're gonna do a council election. We'll elect that the first few council member gonna come from the investors or the partners, for example, either a sneaker brand or Nori, the carbon offsetting company. So we have a group of council decides how we're gonna do the governance of the governance token or the distributions of the profit. And gradually, we will shift that burden to the competent community contributors and increasing the size of the council up until where we believe that we can do more of a election sort of a style that you have upper parliament, have a lower parliament. The lower parliament will propose, and then the upper parliament will decide which basically changes we're going to make. And so we can see this as a transition period from centralization to decentralization, which the rule has to be set in the beginning, and then for the later people to challenge that rule and change it and shape it in a way that fit for the growth of the project, and then we'll be basically hand-free on the governance. I think that's very important because if we go firstly just go decentralized, it's going to be chaos. And you will have people sacrifice the long-term longevity of the project for the short-term gains, and that always happened. And so you cannot get community say, all right, let's vote. People are gonna vote, say, hey, let's distribute all the the governance token to everyone. So
Definitely.
that's not gonna work. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a really fun question. I specifically enjoy asking DeFi projects because it's a term that's thrown out there so much, and it's like, wait, do we really have decentralization yet? But it I like this question because it's where is this North Star for StepN? I think something that people need to realize is governance is something we struggle to figure out on a global scale still.
Yeah.
So thinking that bringing governance to crypto, we're going to have this perfect governance model doesn't exist. So I always think it's fun to ask projects like, where are you guys looking to reach decentralization? And I don't think it necessarily means the same thing for every project, and it doesn't need to. Going back to that idea that businesses, projects, things grow most efficiently when they have a few people with a lot of experience, believable people sort of manning the way. And then it sounds like giving it over to the community once it's developed is that North Star of decentralization for you guys. To jump around a little, I had some questions earlier that I kind of glossed over, but on that idea that we were talking about, just with speculation inside of NFTs, you see this thing where floor prices get pretty high. Even for StepN, you guys are airdropping these NFTs, but they're at a floor price that maybe not everyone can get in on. What are the other ways users can rent these NFTs is pretty much what I'm hinting at. What are the two ways people can get onboarded, whether you hold an NFT or don't?
Yes. So there's two ways. One is to participate the community event, just win one NFTs, then you will be able to get started. Because once you own one NFT, you can basically move to earn enough token, use the swap function to swap the game token to Solana, and then once you accumulate enough Solana, buy a second pair, and then you keep accumulating the game token up until you have 200, and then can start to mint one extra sneakers out of these two. Once you have 3 sneakers, you will have 4 energies, which is equal to 20 minutes of move to earn, and that will pretty much kick off the earning. So once you have 4 energies, you basically earn twice as much than before, and then you can start to accumulate to 9 sneaker. Then you have 45 minutes move to earn. 15 sneaker, you have an hour, up until 30 sneaker for 2 hours. And again, as I said, so we want people to use this app to develop their training routines or their exercising habit. People probably can only work for 10 20 minutes in the beginning, but then as they build up their sneaker inventories, they can work for 2 hours maybe a year later, and then get much fitter and earn more basically. So another way is people can use the rental system. So we are pushing really hard to deliver the rental system by March. So once that is implemented, we will have a matching system. We have a credit system. So we basically will check people's credit. They have to answer like a lot of quiz. We like to use quiz. Once they win quiz, and then they have a credit score, and they can use that score to rent a sneaker. Once they build up the score, they can rent for longer. They can rent for better quality sneakers. So that'll be 2 ways for people to can get the sneakers.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just having that renting system. Something I will point out, and it's not really a question. I was playing a play to earn game on BSC, and I was actually utilizing the renting model. And for that specific game, you had to be really good to make back what you rented. So I think that'll definitely be something fun to gauge the earnings there and just making it viable where if people are renting sneakers, it is worthwhile. So just something to throw out there. And that's obviously once the feature goes live, it'll be easier to get an idea of that. But once you're now in StepN, you maybe have a sneaker, you rented a sneaker. How does the earning actually operate? I took a dive in, and you guys have modes, game modes, and they have these formulas that I didn't get too far into. Do you want to outline what game modes there are now? What can users expect in the future, and the idea behind these?
Okay, so we only have one mode, which is a solo mode at the moment, and we're gonna add multiplayers, which is the leaderboard, and then a passive mode, which is background mode. So in current solo mode, you basically have one sneaker and then you're gonna level up. So once you level up, you can add attribute point to your sneaker, basically customize the sneaker in a way that you want it to use. So either add to efficiency, basically will make you earn more token per step, or add to say durability, which you will spend less on repairs, or you're adding to the luck, basically you will have a loot box drop randomly. So you will increase the chance to have a loot box drop for you, which contain gems, which you can use insert in the sneaker to boost the performance. And comfort is something that we're working on. So we're going to tie it up with the GMT earning in the future. And So this is a current mode, which is the version 1 of StepN. And moving forward for the version 2 and the future, we will create like more of a factory setting. The factory itself, you're gonna level up the factory to access more premium features. For example, customize your sneakers by burning the governance token, which is GMT. So that's gonna be somewhere toward the end of this year. We're gonna have that feature out.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear that you guys are looking to incorporate different things so users aren't just pigeonholed stuck to this one thing. They don't get bored of it. Developments will come in the future. And I think overall, we gave a very good outline of what you guys are building at StepN. What is Move to Earn? Why can it work? What is the outlook on all of that? I think it would just be fun to take a step back and get more into general things and just starting. You've been in crypto since 2017, 2018. What are some of the biggest takeaways from being in the space that you have applied to StepN?
The biggest takeaway, I think for personal investment, the biggest takeaway is always take profit. And I got really burned really bad in the crypto winter. It's all hold and you didn't sell anything, and then everything down for 95%, and you this position, why didn't sell, right? So I think the biggest takeaway is always be humble, and always be happy of what you get. I think that's really with cryptos, and basic take profit. So again, it's still volatile. Looking back to the history, I like to read histories. Is when the stock market first opened, the volatility was like 400% a year. It was like really volatile, and then up until the 90, even 1980s, 1990s, and then the curve starting to flatten. So as the industry move forward, you will see less and less volatilities and more stabilities, but there will be no crazy gains, right? And I think that's just how industry become more mature. And again, study from the history is what used to be dominating the stock market now is gone. For example, back in 100 years ago, candle making, railways, those are the top stock, right? They dominate the entire market, and now there's not, it's all about tech companies. And I think same with the crypto industry is that the whole industry, if you're looking back from 2017, lots of the ICO really doesn't make any sense. And looking at now, we're starting to see working product. We're starting to see working concept. So this is a sign of the progress. And I can only imagine that we're going to happen in the next bull market. Because when CryptoKitty came out 2018, the GameFi is starting already emerge. And then we have seen, the GameFi now become almost the main driving force of this bull market. So, but again, every bull market is a bit different. So we have to really progress to adapt to the market. So, we can be a GameFi project in the beginning, but we have to constantly pivot and to adapt to the new environment. So now we could be like a running app, Web3 running app, but maybe in 1 or 2 years later, we want to be a platforms, right? So it has to be, constantly survive, adapt, and thrive, basically.
That's exactly what I was going to summarize there. What really stood out to me is the fact that crypto is early, but from what you're saying on the history of these markets, the most upside is when these markets are early, they're developing. That's when the most innovation is happening, but it's also where the highest risk is. So it's that big idea that most crypto veterans say, if you can survive and keep your ear low to the innovation, then you will see a lot of success. It's just a matter of not thinking you're going to get 100x next week, but being in the space, understanding when things look a little bit frothy, knowing that it is an unmature market, it's not efficient. So all of these things I think are really good points to take away. And then really just starting to wrap this up here, Yawn, I'm curious in the terms of StepN, what are you most excited for coming up? And then as a two-part question, what do you want to see in the Solana ecosystem, in the move to earn sector in a year from now? Where do you want to see that? So we'll start with, what are you excited for StepN? This can be something in a couple weeks. This could be StepN in 5 years. But then also, what do you want to see building around you that will make this Web3 crypto ecosystem better?
I'm the most exciting about the social element we're going to implement in the future, because it will be pointless to implement even say after Q2, maybe even toward the end of this year. It only be meaningful once we can have, say, at least 100,000 to 500,000 users daily. And then when people, because with crypto, it's all about network effect. And network effect create value, and the crypto will just boost the speed people interact with each other. And so I just cannot wait until we implement many of the social ideas we wanted to do. For example, we wanted to do like our own PFP, and then basically once we're taking the non-crypto people on board, we're going to give one of them each a NFT avatar and a decentralized wallet address, and then they'll be equipped to explore in the Web3 or on the Solana ecosystem. And they're always going to be, let's say, for example, social deepings, like Strava, right? Strava has done extremely well on creating a social network revolving around the fitness, but they cannot the user cannot monetize from them. And with StepN, I think I see the opportunity for people can monetize from their social network revolving around fitness, for like the photo they take, for example, or the content they generate. So I think that's the most exciting part for this project, to pivoting away from GameFi, going to the fitness, and then going to the social.
Yeah, and really bridging that Web 2, Web 3 gap where people are not only able to participate in all these networks, but create value and transfer value out of them. I think that's been a lot of discussions I've had recently, and it's just great to hear. Overall, Yawn, I think that really wraps up our discussion. From our end, we're definitely going to be checking out StepN, seeing any of the latest news, looking to report on that. So for anyone who's tuned in, we'll definitely be keeping the latest updates. But other than that, Yawn, I just want to thank you for coming on, and I'll go ahead and wrap this up here.
Thank you.
Awesome. So that was great. We had Yawn on to really talk about StepN, what they're doing for Move to Earn, Move and Earn. And I think we got into some really good concepts. We saw that, one, there's really big backing behind these projects, but Yawn also took the time to explain why there's so much opportunity in the Fitness 5 market, how their in-game economy or ecosystem loop will work and is actually geared to be sustainable. So it'll definitely be great to watch that develop as new players are onboarded. I also think another really notable thing is the way they are looking to do their NFT sneaker drops and really gauge demand, not keep it super scarce and super rare for the early adopters and then have this high barrier to entry. And then really wrapping it up, it was interesting to hear about Yawn's input on where crypto is going, the main idea of surviving and just being around when the innovation is here. And then also this idea of shifting from Web 2 to Web 3. Yawn has seen that there's a lot of fitness apps that have success, have social success. Now it's this next step of how do we create more value for the users. So definitely going to be exciting to see that all develop. For everyone who enjoyed this video, wants to see more from StepN, go ahead and like and retweet if you're on Twitter. Give it a comment if you're on YouTube. Really appreciate everyone for joining in. So with that being said, please give us a follow or subscribe.